Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to start on the running vehicles. Buyer's commission, documentation fee, VAT on the whole lot. Lot number 51 is a 2023, it's a Renault Cargo, and we're sitting at 126,000 Rand. We're looking for 128. At 126,000 Rand, I'm looking for 128. At 126,000 Rand. Guys, the mileage is 23,000 kilometers. And we got 128,000 Rand.
6%, you know.
There's a 6% buyer's premium here. There is a 6% of 130 round to the floor. At 130,000 Rand, I'm leaving before you. At 130,000, 132, I'll take. At 130,000, I'm looking for 132. The vehicle is retailing at 212,000 Rand. So we're sitting at 130,000 Rand. Is there no further advance at 130,000 Rand? I've got 130.
These are now runners. These are now real cars.
At 131,000 Rand, looking for 132. At 130,000 Rand, I'm looking for 31,000 Rand, I'm looking for 132. Is there no further advance at 131,000 for the first, second, third and final call? No more. Sold at 131,000 Rand. 41. Sold. Okay. Sold to buyer 41 at 131,000 Rand. Lot number 52 is a 2021 Corolla, and we have an opening bid of 125,000 Rand. At 130,000 Rand I've got. At 130,000 Rand I'm looking for 135. At 132 and a half. At 132 and a half I'm looking for 135. At 132 and a half thousand I'm looking for 135. Is there no further advance? At 132 and a half thousand 135. At 135 I'm looking for 137 and a half. At 135 I'm looking for 137 and a half. Drop it at 1 and let's go. We're selling, eh? Yeah. And we're selling. Hey, don't scare me like that. At 136. At 136,000 Rand for the first. At 136 for the second. At 136 for the third and final call. No more. Sold at 136,000 Rand to the floor. Upside down. Dubai 485. Thank you very much. Lot number 53 is a 2023. It's a VW Caddy. It's a 1.6, and we need an opening bid of 200,000 Rand. We need an opening bid of 200,000 Rand. We need an opening bid. 160 I'll take. Yeah, at 160,000 Rand I've got. Go up and fast. At 160,000 Rand to the floor. At 160 I'm looking for 165. At 165 I'm looking for 170 round. At 165 I'm looking for 170. At 170, 175. At 175, 180, 180, 180, 185. At 185,000 Rand looking for 190. At 190,000 Rand looking for 195. At 195 looking for 200. At 195 I've got 200 round. Why didn't you start me there? At 205. At 205. At 205 I'm looking for 110. At 205 I'm looking for 110. Drop it at 2.5. Drop it at 2.5. We're still way below. We're still way below. At 112,000 Rand. Is there no further advance? At 105,000 Rand for the first.
What are you looking at?
Sure, fine.
Second.
Did I say to you? I must apologize. So my first question at 205,000 Rand. Are we going to sell?
Yes.
And we're selling at 205. Drop it at 1 and let's go. At 207 and a half. At 207 and a half, we're looking for 208 and a half. At 207 and a half, no more. 208 and a half. At 208 and a half, 209. Drop it by 500. At 208 and a half, we're looking for 210. Because you know further advance at 209,500 Rand. Going for the first. Going up in ones. Go up in ones. 210 looking for 211. At 210 looking for 211. No more 210 for the first. 210 for the second. 210 for the third and final call. No more. Sold 210,000 Rand to buyer 1016. Lot number 54, the 2018 Nissan NP200. We have got an opening bid of 50,000 Rand. At 50,000 Rand, I'm looking for 52.5. You do not find these buckies anymore. At 55, I'm looking for 57.5. At 57.5, I'm looking for 50, 60 round. At 50, 60, 60, 60, I have. At 60,000, looking for 62.5. Is there no further advance at 60,000 Rand? And we're selling at 62.5, looking for 65. At 62.5, looking for 65. No further advance at 62.5, 65. At 65,000 Rand, I'm looking for 67.5. At 65,000 Rand, I'm looking for 67.5. Yeah. 67.5. At 67.5, looking for 70 round. At 67.5, drop it to 1 and let's go. At 67.5 for the first. At 67.5 for the second. At 68.5. At 68.5, 69.5. At 69.5, looking for 70.5. At 69.5 for the first. Second. Third and final call. No. 70.5. At 70.5 for the first. At 71.5 for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold at 71.5 to buyer 1104. Lot number 55 is a 2024. It's a Hyundai R20, and we Aucorkzn, that's correct, with only 55,000 kilometers on it. And we're sitting at 145,000 Rand. At 145, at 147.5. At 147.5, I'm looking for 150 round. At 147.5, looking for 150 and 150. At 150, I'm looking for 152.5. Is there no further advance at 152.5, 155 to the floor, 157.5 online, 160 if you want. I've got 160 at 162.5. 165 at 165. I'm looking for 167.5. Is there no further advance at 165? And we are selling. Drop it at 1 and let's go at 167.5. 168.5. At 168.5 for the first. 169.5. 170.5. At 170.5 for the first. Second. 171.5. 172.5. At 173.5, 174.5, at 174.5, 175.5, and 176.5, at 176.5 for the first, 177.5, 178.5, at 178.5 for the 179.5, at 179.5, 180.5, at 181.5, 182.5, at 182.5, no more. Going for the first, second, third and final call, no more. 183.5, 184.5 for the first, for the second, for the 185.5, 186.5 for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold at 186,500 to buyer number 483. That's a nice one. Lot number 56 is the 2021. It's a VW Polo. It's a 1 liter. It's a TSR, and I have notes. I'm looking for an opening bid of 75 at 50,000. I have. At 50,000 Rand, I have. At 50,000 Rand, I'm looking for 52.5 at 55. I've got 55 at 57.5, 60 round. At 60,000, I'm looking at 62.5, 65. At 65, I've got 67.5, 70 round at 70,000 Rand. At 70,000 Rand, I'm looking over there at 72.5. At 72.5 and 75 and 75, 77 or 80,000, 80, make it 85. At 85, at 85, 90 round, at 90,000, at 95, at 95, 100 round. I've got 100,000 round. 100 was on my left. I need 105. 105 I have. That's online at 105,000 rand, 107 and a half. And Aucorkzn, you're watching here. To my right. Aucorkzn, to my right at 107 and a half. 110 at 110 I've got. Online first before you at 110 and 111 I'll take them. At 111,000 rand I've got to the floor over there. At 112 and 113. At 113 online. At 113, 114 I have. At 114,000 rand, 14, 15. At 15,000, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 if you want. 20 I've got. At 20,000 rand I want 1, 2. At 122, 123, 124, 125. Yep. 126. At 125,000 for the first. At 126 for the first. 127. At 127, 128. At 128 for the first. 129. At 129, 130 against you. At 130 I've got online. At 130,000 rand for the first, second, third and final call. 131. At 131 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. 132. At 132,000 I'm looking for 133. At 133 I'm looking for 134. At 133 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. 134. At 134,000 looking for 135. At 134,000 looking for 135 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 134,000 to buyer 1041.
I don't know the valuation
Lot number 57 is a 2023 and Ford Ranger 2 liter DXLT 4x4 pickup, retailing at over 500,000 rand, and I'm looking for an opening bid of 280. Guys, let's not mess around. It's going to be a long day. I need 280 to start. 280 you got. At 280,000 rand I have. Let's go up and fast. At 280,000 rand I've got to the floor. At 280 I'm looking for 285.
These are
at 280,000 rand I'm looking for 285. You got to be kidding me.
They are down to the non-runners.
No, at 285. At 285, I'm looking for 290. At 290, I'm looking for 295. At 295, I'm looking for 300 round. At 295, I'm looking for 300 round. At 300. At 300, I'm looking for 305. At 305, I'm looking for 310. At 310, I'm looking for 315. At 310, I'm looking for 315. At 315, I'm looking for 320. At 320,000 rand, I'm looking for 325. At 325, I'm looking for 330. At 330, I'm looking for 335. At 335, I'm looking for 340. At 335, I'm looking for 340. At 340, I'm looking for 345. And we are selling at 345. We're selling at 345. At 345,000 rand. At 345,000 rand for the first. At 345 for the second. 350. At 350,000 rand I got. At 350,000 rand looking for 355. Drop it in 2.5. At 355. At 355 looking for 360. At 360 we got. At 360 we got 362 and a half. At 360 I'm looking for 362 and a half. Is there no further advance? At 362 and a half, and we're still selling at 365. At 365, no more. 367 and a half for the first. At 370. At 370,000 rand for the first. Second, third and final call. Sorry, drop it by one. And let's go. At 372 and a half. At 372 and a half, 373 and a half. At 373 and a half, we've got 374. At 373 and a half for the first, second, third and final call, 374 and a half, 375 and a half, at 375 and a half, and 376 and a half, 377 and a half, 377 looking for 380, 378 and a half, 378 and a half.
Yeah, that's an auction, so it's bidding. That's how it works.
379 and a half thousand. 380 and a half, at 380 and a half, at 381 and a half, at 381 and a half. No more at 381 and a half. Drop it by 500 upon it. Let's get to 382. Is there no further advance at 381 and a half? Looking for 382. Go up and once. Go up and once. At 382 and a half. 1 at 382. Looking for 383 for the first, second, third, and final call. No more. Sold at 382 to buyer 1261. Buyer 1127. Your bid came in too late. Lot number 58 is a 2019. It's a BMW 420D. It's a coupe. It's an M Sport, and the sunroof works. And I'm looking for an opening bid of 200,000 rand. Sorry. What do you say? 150 I'll take. 150 I'll take. 125 I have. At 125,000 rand, I've got an opening with grub and fives. At 125,000, looking for 130 and 130 I have. At 130,000 rand, I'm looking for 135 and 135, I'm looking for 140 round. At 140,000 I have. At 140,000, but 145 I have. At 145, I'm looking for 150 round. At 145, I'm looking for 150, yes, I'll go. At 150, I've got online first. At 150,000 rand, I've got 155. At 155, look, I've got 160 round. At 160 round, I'll take your 2.5, yes, I will. At 162.5, I have. At 162,500, looking for 165. At 162.5, looking for 165. At 165, I'm looking for 167.5. We're selling. And we're selling at 165. At 165,000 rand for a BMW 420D at 167.5. At 167.5, and we're still selling. At 167.5, and we for 170 round. At 167.5, and we for 170 round. We've got no further advance at 170,000. At 170,000, 172.5. At 170,000, looking for 172.5. We're selling at a 170, drop it at 1 and let's go. At 170 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 170,000 to buy a 1107. Lot number 59 is a 2021. It's a VW Polo. It's a 1.4. What is your trading there? You've got to be kidding me. Wrong page. And I saw that trade. I thought, no way. 40.
It's 191.
It's retailing at over 207,000 rand. I can't see, the screen's in my way, but I can take 45. 45,000 rand I can take. At 45,000 rand I got 50 at the back. At 45,000 rand I got 50 at the back. At 50,000 I got 55 over here. At 55,000 rand I've got online first at 57.5. 65 to the back. At 65 at 70 in the front. At 70 in the front with a code retailing over 200,000 rand. At 75,000 rand I've got online, I've got 80,000 rand in the front. And I got 80,000 rand for the first. Sorry, drop it to 2.5. At 80,000 rand I'll move 82.5. There's no further advance at 88,000 rand. Going for the first, second, third and final call. No more. 82.5. At 82.5, I'm looking for 83.5. At 83.5, it's fine. At 83.5 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 83.5 to buyer number 98. Buyer number 98. And I saw that retail at 400 grand on that car. Lot number retailing at 187. Yo. Lot number 60 is a 2020. It's a Kia Picanto retailing at 187. Yeah, and the price of petrol is going up, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got 80,000 rand. It's the new spec. It's lovely. And we got 80,000 rand. The mileage is 76,000 K. And we're sitting at 80,000 rand. At 80,000 rand, I'm looking for 82.5 to the front. At 82 and a half, I'm looking at 85. At 82 and a half, I've got 85 online. At 85, I've got 87 and a half. At 87 and a half, I'm looking for 90 round. At 87, I've got 90,000 here. You want 92 and a half. You want 92 and a half, I've got. At 92 and a half, I'm looking for 95. At 92 and a half for the first. At 95. At 95, 97 and a half, I want 97 and a half, 100 to the floor. 100 is your bid. Are you happy? At 100,000 rand, 102 and a half. At 102 and a half, you want 105. At 102 and a half, you want 105. At 105. At 105, I'm looking for 107 and a half. At 107 and a half, can I give you 110? At 107 and a half, can I give you 110? Is it not 107 and a half thousand? 110 I've got. Yours will be. I've got there 110, 112 and a half is here. At 112 and a half, 115 you want. At 115 I have. At 115 to me. At 115 we go 117 and a half and 115 to me. 117 and a half against you. You want to go 120 round. At 120,000 rand to the floor. At 120,000 rand I'm going to go 122 and a half. Is it no further advance than 122 and a half, 125. 122 and a half, 125. 125,000 rand. At 125,000 rand we go 127 and a half. Online. 130 round, 137 and a half, 130. At 130,000 rand to the floor. At 130,000 rand to the floor. Drop about one and let's go. At 132 and a half, 133 and a half, 132 and a half, 133 and a half. At 133 and a half, no more. Going for the first. Going for the second. Going for the third and final, 134 and a half. 135 and a half. At 134 and a half for the first. 135 and a half. At 135 and a half, drop it to 500. Let's get to 136. At 135 and a half, you want 136. At 135 and a half for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Oh, at 135 and a half to buy a number 486. Here we have it. Here we have it. Here we have it. Lot number 61 and 2000. Please go a little bit forward. Please go a little bit forward. I can't see. At lot 61 in 2019 is Isuzu. It's a 250 and it's retailing at 205,000. And I need an opening bid of 110,000 rand. It's got a bid. Sorry? I can take 80. At 80,000 rand I've got. At 80,000 rand I've got online. I saw you onto the floor. At 80,000 rand I'm looking for 85. At 85 I'm looking for 90 rand. At 92 I'm looking for 95. At 95 on my right. At 95 on the right, 100 to my left. At 100 left to my left. At 105 online. At 105 I'm online. Is it no further advance at 105,000 rand? 110 at 110,000 rand. At 110,000 rand, I'm looking for 115. At 110,000 rand, the canopy goes with the bucky. At 110,000 rand, and a half, drop it 2 and a half. At 110,000, looking for 112 and a half. At 110,000 rand, I'm looking for 112 and a half. Is there no further advance at 110,000 rand? Drop it to 1 and let's go. At 110,000 rand, 112 and a half. At 112 and a half, I'm looking for 113 and a half. Is there no further advance at 112 and a half? Yo, at 113 and a half, thank you very much. At 113 and a half thousand rand, I'm looking for 114 and a half. At 113 and a half for the first. It's you at 113 and a half. At 113 for the first, second, third and final call. So 113 and a half thousand rand. By a 496. Lot number 62, the 2019 is a Datsun Go. It's a 1.2 and we need an opening bid of 35,000 rand. We need an opening bid of 35,000 rand. We are retailing at 130,000 rand. What? 15 I'll take. 15. That's 15,000 rand I've got. At 15,000 rand I've got 17 and a half. At 17,500 rand, 20,000 round. At 20,000 online before you, 22 and a half if you want. 21. At 21. 21. At 21,000 rand. 25. At 25,000 rand and no more. 27 and a half. At 27 and a half, I'm looking for 30,000. At 30,000, I've got a lot. At 30,000, you want 32 and a half. 32 and a half. At 32 and a half thousand, I'm looking for 35. At 32 and a half, I've got 35 on lot. 37 and a half. At 37 and a half, I'm looking for 40. At 37 and a half, I'm looking for 40. Is there no further advance at 37 and a half thousand rand? Drop it at 40,000 rand I have. At 40,000 rand I have. And I'm going to sell. At 40,000 rand, drop it at 1, drop it at 1, and let's go. At 40,000, 1. At 41 for the first. At 41 for the second. At 41 for the third and final call, no more. Sold at 41,000 rand. To buy a 396, buy a 1109, your bid came in too late. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to bid up. Your bid came in too late. Just because you're close to me, it doesn't mean I'll come in quicker. You better quick. Put your hand up if it's going too slow, guys. Lot number 63. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot be held responsible for the network problem. If you are here, put your hand up. Is this, oh shit, do it. Yeah, guys. Retailing it, 203. Lot number 63 in 2024, Renault Driver, retailing at over 200. And we have got a bid of 100,000 rand. At 100,000 rand, 102 I've got to the floor. At 102 to the floor. At 102,000 rand, I'm looking for 105. At 105, I'm looking for 107. At 105, I'm looking for 107. At 105, I'm looking for 107. Is there no further advance at 105,000 rand? Drop it a 1 and let's go. Drop it a 1 and let's go. At 105 for the first. At 105 for the second. At 105 for the third and final call, no more. 106. At 106 for the first. At 106 for the second. At 106 for the third and 107. At 107 for the first. At 107 for the second. At 108. At 108,000 rand for the first. For the second. 109. At 109,000 rand. 110 right at the back. At 110,000 rand, I'm moving 111. At 110, at 111 to the front. At 111,000 is online before you want to go 112. I've got 112 to the floor. At 112,000, you want to go 113. 112 is here. At 112, 113 is online. At 113,000, want to get to 114. At 114 to the floor. And 114 I have. At 114, 115. At 115 I have. At 115, looking for 116. At 116, Andrew saying that he misses this. At 116 to the floor. At 116,000 here. Nirvana. 116. At 116, 117, 117, 180 to 180 to the floor. At 180,000 rand to the floor. No more. Going for the first, second, third. 119, 120 round. At 120,000 rand for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 120,000 rand to the floor. Buyer 41. Lot number 64. It's a 2023 100 grand octane 1.2. We're at a current bid of 102,000 and it's retailing at 260,000 rand. And it's automatic and it's nice. Let's go up in 8. When it gets to 10, go up in 2.5. At 10, at 12.5, I'm looking for 12.5. At 110, I've got 12.5. 12.5, I've got 115 rounds. At 115, 120,000, 122.5, 125. You're at 125, at 127.5, and 132. At 132.5, 135. At 135, and we're selling at 135. At 140, I got. At 145, at 145, I have. At 145, at 147.5, at 150 round. At 152 to the floor. At 155. At 155,000 rand no more. 157.5. At 157,500 rand for the first. At 157,500 rand, sorry, drop it a 1, drop it a 1, drop it a 1. At 157,000 rand for the first. 158. At 158.5, at 158.5, 159.5. At 159, at 160.5. At 161.5. at 161 and a half, looking for 162 and a half. Drop it by 500, Lamona. Drop it by 500. Let's get to 162. Let's get to 162. Go back and once. Go back and once. At 162, looking for 163. Is there no further? 163. At 163, I'm looking for 164. At 164, at 164, I'm looking for 165. At 164 for the first. Second. Third, 165. At 165 for the first. Second. Third and final call. No more. 166. At 166 for the first. Second. 167 for the first. 168 for the first.
That was waiting for the
169 for the first. Second.
I sent you my
Third
number. I
final
don't know
call. No more.
comes to you.
170 round.
The email that came through is got your
170,000 rand
contact.
for the first. At 170,000 rand for the second.
Oh, I'm saying the email that was
third
sent
and
from
final
your
call.
server came through to me.
So that 170,000 rand to buy a 1050. Lot number 65.
Yeah, I did. I emailed you with the alternative number. The other number is correct as well. It means the network has got issues.
4 You've got a current bill
I'm
of
saying the other number is correct as
110,000
well.
rand.
It
And
could be
we
the
are
network issue.
retailing at 312,000
No, just
rand.
use this one. I've emailed it to you as well.
312.
Yeah.
Go up in fives. We want to go up in fives. Let's go up in fives.
Okay, that's fine.
At 170 and a half, I need 122 and a half. At
Sorry?
117 and a half, 122 and a half. At 122 and a half, 127
Yeah,
and
it
a
is,
half. At 127 and a half, I need 132 and a half. At 122 and a half, 132 and a
It's
half.
actually a
At
block of flats.
122 and a half,
So when they come to
127 and a
the
half,
entrance, there is
127 and a half, 142 and a half. Is there no further advance at 137 and a half? Guys, what
Guys, better to call my cell phone.
312,000 rand. There's no further advance at 152,500 rand. And we're selling, Andrew. We're selling at 152 and a half, at 157 and a half. At 157 and a half, we're 162 and a half. At 162 and a half, we're looking for 167 and a half. At 167 and a half, I'm looking for 172 and a half. There's no further advance at 172 and a half. At 172 and a half, at 177 and a half. At 177 and a half, I'm looking for 182 and a half. There's no further advance at 177 and a half. 182 and a half. At 182 and a half, I'm looking for 187 and a half. At 187 and a half, I'm looking for 192 and a half. At 192 and a half, I'm looking for 192 and a half. Is there no further advance? 192 and a half. Thank you very much. At 192 and a half, I'm looking for 197 and a half. At 192 and a half, I'm looking for 197 and a half. Drop it to 2 and a half. At 192 and a half, I'm looking for 195. At 192 and a half, I'm looking for 195. That is not money for this vehicle, guys. At 192 and a half, no more. Drop it a 1 and let's go. At 192 and a half for the first. For the second. For the third and final call, no more. Sold at 192 and a half to buy a 1064. Lot number 66 for 2021 is the VW Polo. There is a trend line and we have got a current bid of 70,000 rand. Let's go up in 2.5. Lovely looking vehicle here. Can I get 72 and a half? At 70,000 rand, I'm looking for 72 and a half. At 70,000 rand, I'm looking for 70. Retailing at 187,000 rand. And I'm sitting at 70,000 rand. At 70,000 rand, 72 and a half. At 72 and a half, I got 75. At 72 and a half, I got 75 online. At 77 and a half, you want. At 77 and a half. At 77 and a half, I have. At 77 and a half, I've got to the floor. Is there no further advance at 77 and a half thousand to the floor? At 77 and a half, I'm looking for 80 round. At 77 and a half, I'm looking for 80,000, 80,000, 81. I've got 81 to the floor. At 81,000 rand to the floor. No further, 82, 83, 83 is on my left. At 83,000 rand, 84 is online, 85 is to the floor. At 85,000 rand to the floor. Is there no further advance at 85, 86, 86, 87 if you want? 87 he has. 87 I've got. At 87,000 rand no more. 87 for the first, 88. At 88 for the first, 89. at 89,000 rand for the first. Second, at 90,000 rand for the first. Second, 90,000 rand for the first. Second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 90,000 rand by a 1132. Here we comes, lot number 67 with a canopy. Look at that mileage, 55,000 kilometers. It's a 2018 Toyota Hilux. It's a 2.4. It's a GD series, and it has a canopy. This vehicle is retailing at 262,000 rand, and we need an opening bid of 150,000 rand. 150,000. I got online before you. 155 if you want. At 155 online, 160, 160, 165. At 165 to the floor. At 165 I'm looking for 170, and 170 I have. 175 to the floor. Online before you. 180 if you want. At 180, 180, 180, 185. 185. At 185 I'm looking for 190. At 185 190, at 190, 195 if you want. 192
The item was 170,000.
At 192 and a half I'm looking for 195. At 192 and a half I'm looking for 195. How are we looking, Andrew? And we're selling at 195,000 rand. At 195,000 rand for the first. At 195,000 rand for the second. At 195,000. Sorry, not the one. At 197 and a half. At 197 and a half. Let's go to 198 and a half. At 197 and a half. I'm looking at 198 and a half. At 198 and a half. I'm looking at 199 and 199 and a half. Let's make it 200 round. Let's make it 200 round. At 199 and a half. 200 round. And go to ones. Go to ones. At 200,000 looking for 201. At 200,000 looking for 201. At 201 I'm looking for 202. At 201 for the first. For the second. For the third and final call. No more. Sold at 201,000 to buy a 1225. Here it comes, guys. Wow, lot number 68. It's a 2013. It's a Toyota 86. It's a 2 liter. It's got 84,000 Ks on the clock. And we are sitting at 89,000 rand. And 91,000 rand, and 91 and 93, I'm looking for 95. At 95, I've got to the floor. 97 is on the floor, 100 is on line. At 100,000 rand, I'm looking for 102, 102 and a half for 105. At 105, I'm looking for 107 and a half for 110. 110, I've got to the floor. At 110, 112 and a half. 112 and a half, yes, heavy. At 115,000 rand on line. At 115, 170 and a half on the floor. At 117 and a half thousand, 120,000 round. At 120,000 rand, 122 and a half, 122 and a half, 125. 127 and a half. 127 and a half I've got. At 127 and a half, 130, 130, 132 and a half. If you want to go 132 and a half, I'm leaving 135. At 132 and a half, I'm leaving 135. Is there no further advance at 135? At 135, I'm leaving 137 and a half. At 137 and a half, I need 140 round. At 137 and a half, 140 round. At 142 and a half. At 142 and a half, I'm leaving 145. At 142 and a half, I need 145. At 145, I'm looking for 147 and a half, and 177 and a half, I'm looking for 150 round. At 150,000 round I've got. At 152 and a half, I'm looking at 155. At 155, I'm looking at 157 and a half, and 157 and a half. At 155, no more. And we're selling. At 157 and a half, let's get to 160 round. At 160,000 I've got. At 160,000 I need 162 and a half. Is there no further advance at 160, drop it on one and let's go. At 160,000 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 160,000 to buy a 1261. What's wrong with the power steering? Is it mentioned?
Could be the best. No power, no one.
Lot number 69. 2023 Toyota Hilux 2.8. Is there any mention of the power steering on there? Is there any mention on the power steering on the start? Yeah, it does mention it. Lot number 69 of 2023 is the Toyota Hilux 2.8. 285 I've got. 270 I've got. At 270,000 rand I've got. Sorry, I didn't get the 601,000 rand. 275, at 275, 280, 285, at 285 I have. At 285 I'm looking for 290 round. At 285,000 rand I'm looking for 290. At 290, 295, at 295 I have. At 295, 300 round at the very back. At 305, at 305, 310, 315 if you want. 315. At 315, 320 if you want. At 320 is in the front. At 320, 325. At 325. At 325 I've got 330. At 330 if you want. At 335, 340. 340 is at the back. 345. At 345. 350. 350 I have. At 350,000 rand I'm looking for 5. At 355 I've got 360. 360 to the back. At 360 looking for 365. Is it no further advance at 360, 365? At 360. That's your bid at 360. Don't bid against yourself. Sorry, Lali, can you move forward please? 360 was there. 75 was online. 380 if you want. 385 if you want. 380 is online. And no more 380, 385. At 385 I'm looking for 390. At 380,000 rand I'm looking for 390. Is there no further advance at 390,000 rand is online. At 390,000, 395 if you want. At 390,000 is online. 395 is online. At 395, 400 round. At 400,000, 405. At 405 to the floor. At 405,000 rand no more. 410. At 410 I'm looking for 415. At 410 I'm looking for 415. Is there no further advance at 410,000 rand? Drop it to 2.5. Looking for 412.5. Going for the first, second, third, 412.5. At 412.5 I got. At 412.5 for the first, 415. 415, 417.5. 415 is here. At 415,000 rand for the first. At 415,000 rand, 417.5. At 417.5, 420. At 420 I've got. At 420,000 rand for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold 420,000 to buyer 1104. Lot number 70, lot number 70. It's a 2015, it's a VW Polo, it's the GP. I'm looking for a current bid I have of 60,000 rand. It's retailing at 109. And I've got 62.5. At 62.5, I'm looking for 65. At 62.5, I'm looking for 65. At 62.5, no more. 65. At 65, I'm looking for 67.5. 67.5, 70 I'll go in once. At 67.5, I'm looking for 70 round. At 67.5, looking for 70 round. What are we doing, Andrew? What are we doing? Are we selling? And we're on 70. I'll take your one now if you want. At 71. At 71,000 rand I have to the floor. At 71,000 looking for 72. Is there no further advance? At 72,000 rand looking for 73. At 72,000 looking for 73. No more. 73. At 73,000 looking for 74. At 73,000 I'm looking for 74. 74,000 rand looking for 75. At 74 looking for 75. At 74,000 going for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 74,000 to buy a 1030. 1030.
Nice mileage on this car.
It's not working. Lot number 71 is a 2018. It's a Hyundai Tucson 2-liter. It is a premium. We're sitting with an opening bid of 107,000 rand, and it's retailing at just under 290,000 rand. And we're sitting at 115,000 rand. At 115,000, 120 at 120 I've got. At 122.5, 125 I have. At 125, at 125, at 127.5. At 127.5 I have. At 127.5 I'll take your 130. I've got 127.5, I'll take your 130. At 130,000 rand I have to the floor. At 130,000 rand I've got 132.5 I have. At 132.5 I've got online, 135 if you want. At 135 I've got. At 135,000 rand I have. 137 and a half is before you. 140 is over to the left. 142 and a half if you want. You just jump, and yours is 140. Take the 142 and a half, is as bid as 140. At 140,000 rand I have. At 140,000 rand, 142 and a half behind me. At 142 and a half. At 142 and a half is behind me now, Nirvana. 142 and a half is now online.
It's 143.
And 143 is in front of me. At 143, 144 if you want. 144 is online. 145. 145 and a half. At 145 and a half, 146 and a half. You what? 146 and a half. 145 and a half for the first. At 145 and a half for the second. At 146 and a half. At 146 and a half, make it a 147 and a half. Drop it by 500. Let's get to 1,500. Drop it by 500 to 149. At 149. At 149, go up to the thousands, please. At 149, I'm going to go
Thank you for the gift.
at 150,000, 151. At 151, I've got 151, I'm going to go 152. Is it no further advance at 151? 152. At 152, you want 153. At 153 for the first. At 153 for the second. At 154. At 154 for the first. At 155. At 155 for the first. At 155 for the second. At 155 for the third and final call. No more. So at 155 at 175. At 155,000 to buy a 175. Lot number 72. Lot number 72. It's a 2022, it's a Hyundai, it's a H1, it's a 2.6, it's a drop size. And I'm looking for an opening bid of 110,000 rand. Why don't you just give me 110? 100 at 100,000 rand. No man, it's retailing at 273. Hey, okay, 100 we got. Just because you asked nicely.
There's no drop size.
Oh, there's no drop size because there's no drop size. 100%. Sorry, I apologize about that. I'll take you 110. I'll take you 115 now. At 115,000 rand I've got 115,000 rand, 120. At 125 to the floor. At 125 to the floor. 130. At 130,000 rand I'm looking for 135. At 130,000 rand I'm looking for 135. At 135 I'm looking for 140. At 135,000 looking for 140. 140 I've got. At 140,000 rand I'm looking for 145. At 145 I'm looking for 147 and a half. At 147 and a half I'm looking for 150. At 150 I'm looking for 155. At 150,000 rand I'm looking for 155. Drop it by 2 and a half. Drop it by 2 and a half and let's go. At 150,000 looking for 152 and a half. No more at 150,000. Drop it by 1 and now we're gonna go. At 150 looking for 151. At 150 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 150,000 to buy a 1261. Lot number 73 is a 2025 VW Polo. It's got under 8,000 kilometers on the clock. If we don't get 180, we don't go. If we don't get 180, we're not going. Retailing.
It's trading at VW for 249. I deal with it.
So I'll take 178. 155. At 155 I've got. At 155,000 I have to the floor. Go up in 2.5. Go up in 2.5. At 155 at 157 and a half. At 157 and a half I have. 160 round. At 160,000, 162 and a half. If you want at 162 and a half. At 162 and a half we'll go 165 at 165, 167 and a half. At 167 and a half I'm looking for 170 round. At 170 I've got 170 before you. 172 and a half before you. At 172 and a half, I'm looking for 175. At 172 and a half or 175, so much for that my opening bid. At 177 and a half, I'm looking for 180 round. At 177 and 180, why don't you just start me there? We wouldn't have to do this. At 180,000 rand for the first. At 180,000 rand for the second. Sorry, let's drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. At 180,000 rand for the first, second, third, and final call. Was he bidding? At 181 at 181,000 rand. At 181, 182, at 182.
No, this is a new car. It's actually for this year, 2025.
Second,
this person
third
has
and
only
final
driven this
call.
guy
No
most
more.
for 6
Sold
months.
at 182,000 to buy a 1050.
The horrors of life.
It's 74.
Today
Yes,
for
it
the
is.
car, 6 months down the line to be 30.
There you are, yeah.
Thanks.
That's short in extra.
That's it.
What's the vet?
Ladies and gentlemen, lot number 74 is my second pick of the auction here today for 2022. It's a Nissan Navara. It's a 2.5. It's automatic. It's a double cab, and I think it absolutely looks marvelous. We're sitting at a current bid of 350,000 Rand on a retail for 566. At 355, I've got. At 355,000 Rand, I'm looking for 360 round. At 355,000 Rand, I'm looking for 360. Is there any further advance at 355,000 Rand? We cannot sell this car at that price. At 360, I'm looking for 365. At 360,000 Rand, I'm looking for 365. You are kidding me. It's 69,000 Ks on the clock. Drop it at 2.5, drop it at 2.5. At 360, 365, at 365, looking for 367.5. At 367.5, I'm looking for 370 round. At 367.5, I'm looking for 370. At 370, I'm looking for 372.5. At 372.5, I'm looking for 375. At 375, I'm looking for 380. At 375, I'm looking for 377.5. At 377.5, I'm looking for 380. There's no more 377,500 Rand. 380, that's getting better. At 380,000 Rand, I'm looking for 382.5. At 382.5, I'm looking for 385. At 382.5, I'm looking for 385.
Yeah.
385. At
You
385,
just have to deal with it and accept it. Otherwise, what can you do?
387.5.
Once they know, can they take it? That's it.
Let's go. Drop it a one and let's go. At 385 for the first. At 385 for the second. At 385 for the third and final. 386 for the first. At 386 for the second. At 386 for the 387 for the first. At 387 for the second. At 380. The 387 for the third and 389. At 389 for the first. 389 for the second, 389 for the third and final call. No more. Sold at 389,000 by 1050. Fantastic call that, eh? Andrew, what do you say? Lot number 75 is a 2021. It's a Ford EcoSport. I'm looking for an opening bid of 70,000 Rand on a retail of 250, just under 220. I need an opening bid of 70,000 Rand. 60 I can take. That's 60,000 Rand I got. That's 60,000 Rand I got an opening bid. That's 60,000 Rand I'm looking for 62.5. That's 60,000 I'm looking for 62.5. 62.5 if you want. That's 62.5 I've got on the line. That's 65. That's 65,000 Rand I got to the floor. That's 65,000 Rand I got 67.5. At 67,500 Rand I have. At 60.
Sorry.
70. I need 70. 70. 70. At 70,000 Rand I have. At 70,000 Rand I need 72.5. At 70,000 Rand I got 72.5. I need 75. At 75,000 Rand I have. At 75,000 Rand I have. I have. At 75,000 Rand. We'll drop it by one then if you want. At 77.5. At 77.5. You want to go 78.5? You want to go 78.5?
78.
At 78, I'll take it. At 78,000 Rand, go back up in once. At 78,000 Rand, go up in once. At 78,000 Rand, no more. 79.5. Oh no. At 79.5. At 79.5. 80,000 if you want. At 79.5, no more. At 80,000 rand. At 80,000 rand, go up once. At 80,000 rand, looking for 81. Is there no further advance at 80,000 rand? Going 81. At 81,000 rand, I'm looking for 82. At 81,000 rand for the first. At 81,000 rand for the second. At 81,000 rand for the third and final call, no more. Sold at 81,000 rand via 1123.
Yeah, I'm trying to work with you.
Hey.
It comes in with me, but the problem is the valuation's there, the valuation's not great, he knows what he's doing. I know my job, yeah. There's been not one valuation. Besides that, no, but that, I phoned Naz, phoned Naz in 10 minutes already.
Lot number 76.
There'll be an investigation on the TV. Yeah.
The sticker. It's just the sticker. Yeah. No. Lot number 76 is a 2022. It's a Reynolds Quid. It's the 1 liter. It's the dynamic. And I need an opening bid of 40,000 rand. What is your retailing there, Andrew? 152. Retailing at 152,000 rand.
50 all day long. Come on.
With 62,000 kilometers.
Brand new.
40,000 rand I've got. At 40,000 rand I've got, I'm looking for 42.5. At 40,000 rand I'm looking for 42.5. With a Reynolds Quid with 62,000 kilometers. At 42.5 I'm looking for 45. At 42.5 I've got 45. I've got 45. At 45,000 I'm looking for 47.5. Thank you. I've got 47.5. I've got 50 round. I've got 50 round. At the trade's high. The retail is good. At 50,000 rand to the floor. At 50,000 rand at 52.5 to the floor. At 52,500 rand to the floor. Is there no further advance? At 52,500 rand for 2022 Reynolds Quid. I've got 52.5 now. At 52,500 rand I need 55. At 52,500 rand I need 55. No more 52.5.
Sell it.
Drop it by one. Looking for 53.5. Looking for 53.5. No more 52.5. The vehicle will remain unsold. The vehicle will remain unsold. And this one put a house bid. Put a house bid of 54,500. And you drop it to 500. Guys, we need 55 to sell. 55 to sell on a 2022 Reynolds Quid. We need 55. It's got 62,000 kilometers.
They sell a 50% off. So I put 6%.
No more. 54.5 for the first. Second, third and final call. The vehicle will remain unsold. Oh, check out. Very nice.
The Uber people here is a
Lot
car by
number
year.
77, 2024.
That's a lot of profit.
Citroen
Buying a car for
C3
50-something thousand rand.
1.2 max.
Who sounds
It's got
you're gonna make much more profit than somebody driving a Corona who's paying a high installment.
absolutely a phenomenal looking vehicle. Now I'm asking for 100,000 rand. What's the retail there, Eddie?
186.
186,000 rand. I'm looking for 100,000 rand. I need 100,000 rand to start, guys. I need 100,000 rand to start.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've got a 100,000 rand online. At 100,000 rand, I'm looking for 102.5 and 102.5. Thank you very much for your 102.5. I really appreciate it. At 102.5, I've got. At 102.5, looking for 105 and 105. I've got 107.5 and 107.5. I'm looking for 110. At 107,500 rand, I'm looking for 110. At 110,000 rand, I have. At 110,000 rand, I'll take you 112.5. At 112.5, I have. 112 and a half, 115, at 115, at 115, at 115 I have, at 115,000 rand, I will give 117 and a half, at 117 and a half, I will give 117 and a half. Is there no further advance at 115,000 rand?
No.
We're going to sell it. I'll give it to you at 116. Drop it to 1, drop it to 1, drop it to 1. At 115,000, looking for 116. No more 115, 116, at 116,000 rand, at 116,000 rand. Henry, I'm still not happy to sell this car at 116,000 rand.
Gareth, look at the truck. The 115 is fine.
Bank says I can sell at 116,000 rand with a car that's got under 6,000 kilometers at 116,000 rand for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 116,000 rand to buy a 1050.
Recovery to straight. Fine.
Sure.
Why don't you get there on because Gareth is talking. Right, there.
Lot number 78. Lot number 78 is a 2023 Toyota 7-seater. It's automatic and it's nice. You do know that we're going to get over there. I'll meet you at 125. Thank you very much. At 125,000 rand, I've got to the floor. At 125, then goes 130 I have. At 130,000 rand, I've got to the floor. At 130,000, 135, at 135, at 135, 140 I've got. At 140, 145. At 145, 150, 150 I've got. At 150,000, 155. At 155, 160 I've got. At 165 online, 167 to 170 is Jason. At 170, 175 is online. At 175 is online. 180,000 rand, 185. At 185 is online. At 190,000 to the floor. At 190,000 rand to the floor. Yeah. 195. At 195,000 rand, Jason. At 195,000 rand, Jason. Is it no further advance to 195,000 rand? Did somebody have a bid? Go back to 195, please. At 195,000 rand. Drop it to 1, drop it to 1, and let's go. At 195,000 for the first. 196. At 196,000 for the 197. At 197 for the first. 197 for the second. At 198. At 198,000 rand for the first. 199. At 199,000 rand for the first. For the second. For the third and final call, no more. Sold at 199,000 rand too. Right, come in. Are you offline? Is it not coming? The system is offline? Unique trading.
Unique trading.
Mohammed Dasa. So we just want to get the buyer's number, the gentleman's line.
The line is wires. Make me look bad.
Let me have a look.
This is
No, it's a 20%. Yeah. What's his buyer's number? 1222. Is right? Yeah.
No.
Please message them in the office quickly about that.
Sorry, I apologize. Sorry, lot number 79 is a 2019 Isuzu. It's a 250. It's a 4x4. It's a double cab. I must apologize. We've got a current bid of 150,000 rand. The vehicle is retailing at 314,000 rand, and we're sitting at 155. At 155, we're looking for 160 round. At 160,000, I'm looking for 165. At 160,000, I need 165. At 165, I'm looking for 170. At 165, I'm looking for 170. At 170, I'm looking for 175. At 175, I'm looking for 180 round. At 160, 180, 185. At 185, I'm looking for 190, 191, 195. At 195, I'm looking for 200 and 200,000 round. At 200,000, 205, 210. At 210, I'm looking for 215. At 215, I'm looking for 220. At 220, I'm looking for 225. Is there any advance at 220,000 rand? Drop it at 2.5. Drop it at 2.5. At 220,000, I'm looking for 222.5. Is there any further advance at 220,000 rand? Let's go. Are we selling, Andrew? Are we selling? Yeah, we're selling. Drop it at 1 and let's go. At 220 for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 220,000 to buy a 1044. Lot number 80. Lot number 80 is a 2015. It's a Toyota Corolla. It's a Quest. It's a 1.6, and I need 30,000 rand to start. Have I got 30,000 rand to start? It's a Toyota Corolla. I need 30,000 rand to start. Come on, guys. Retailing at 131. I need 30,000 rand. Guys, I cannot bid for you. Give me 20 and we'll start. At 17.5 I have. At 17,500 rand I have. At 17,500 rand I have got for lot number 18. At 17,500 rand. At 17,500 rand. 20,000 round. At 20,000 rand I got 20 online. At 20,000 rand I got 22 online. At 22.5 I got a 25. At 25,000 at 27.5. At 27.5 I'm looking for 30 round. At 27.5 I'm looking for 30 round. At 30,000. At 30,000 I'm looking for 32.5. At 30,000 I'm looking for 32.5. Drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. Let's go. At 30,000 I'm looking for 31. No more 30,000. 31. At 31,000 looking for 32. At 31,000, 32. At 32 I'm looking for 33. At 32,000 rand for the first, second, third and final call. No more. Sold at 32,000 rand to buy a 1109. Lot number 81. Lot number 81. 2022 is a Ford Ranger. It's a 2 liters, a 5 turbo. It's a wild track. It's a 4x4. It's a double cab. It's a pickup. It's got lights. It's got a canopy. It's got everything that you want. Pop, carry on going. Carry on going for me, please. Thank you very much. I'm looking for an opening bid of 300,000 rand. Vehicle is retailing at 586. At 586,000 rand. At 586. 230 I'll take. At 230,000 rand I've got. At 230,000 rand I'm looking for 235. At 235,000 rand I've got. At 235, 240. At 240,000 rand, 245. At 245 I have. At 245, 250. At 250, 255. At 255,000 rand I have. 260 I've got. At 260,000 I'm looking for 265. At 265 I've got online. At 270 I need. At 265,000 rand, 270. At 270 I'm looking for 275. At 275 I'm looking for 280. At 280,000 rand online. At 280 for the first, second, 285. At 285, 290. At 290 I'm looking for 295. At 290 I'm looking for 295. Drop it to 2.5 and let's go. At drop it to 2.5. At 290,000 I'm looking for 292.5. No more. 292.5 looking for 295. At 295 looking for 297.5. At 297.5 looking for 300 round. At 299 300 round. 300 got. At 300 looking for 302.5. Is it no further advance at 300,000 rand? Going for the first. Sorry, drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. And let's go. At 300,000 for the first, second, third and final, 301 at 301,000 rand for the first, second, at 302 at 302,000 rand for the first, second, 303 at 303 I have, at 303 I've got for the first, 304 at 304, 305 if you want, at 304 I've got for the first, 5 at 305 at 305,000 rand for the first, second, Third and 306 at 306,000 rand for the first. At 307, 308, at 309. At 309 is your bid. At 309,000 rand for the first. 310 at 310,000 rand for the first. Second, third and final call, 311 at 311,000 I have. At 311,000 rand for the first. 312 at 312 for the first. Second, 313 at 313 for the first. Second, third and final call, 314, 15 I have. 315 at 315 for the first. 316 at 316 for the first. Second, 317 at 317 for the first. Second, third at 318 at 318,000 rand for the first. Second, third and final call, no more. Sold at 318,000 to buy a 1107.
Oh, this match.
Lot number 82, 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLC, the 43, it's an AMG, it's automatic. Bear in mind that it does not have a blade key.
Doesn't have what?
The suspension?
Can you raise the suspension there? This vehicle is retailing at
What's the mileage?
648,000 kilometers. I mean, 648,000 rand.
No mileage.
Yeah, it's got.
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How much? I need 250. I need 250. 225 I'll do. At 225,000 rand, go up in fives. At 225,000, 225, 230 I have. At 230,000 rand I have to the floor. At 230,000 rand I have to the floor. 235. At 235,000 rand I got 240 if you want. At 240 I have. At 240 I have to the floor. At 245 on my left, at 245, 250 to the right. At 250 to the right, 255 to the left. At 255 to the left, I'm looking for 260. At 255 to the left, 260 to the right. At 260, 265. 265 I have to my left. Is there any further advance at 270? At 270 relay jeans is 275. At 275 I got to my left. Is there no further advance at 275? 280. At 280,000 rand I got online. 285. At 285 I'm looking for 290. At 280 online. Is there no further advance at 285? 290. At 290,000 at 295. At 295 I've got to the floor. No more 295, I'll take 297 and a half. At 295 I've got. At 297 and a half, no more. At 297 and a half. At 297 and a half, I'm looking at 300. At 297 and a half, I'm looking at 300. At 300,000 rand for the first. Second. At 302. At 302 and a half. For the first. At 305. For the first. At 307 and a half. For the first. Second. Third and final call, no more. Sold at 307,500 to buy a 1107. Lot number 83 is a 2024. It's a Renault Traverse inspection.
No, I don't think I can do that.
92,000 Ks on the clock, and I'm looking for 70,000 rand. This vehicle is retailing at 193,000 rand, and I'm looking at 70,000. 50.
Beautiful. New shirt.
30. 30, okay, let's go. At 30,000 rand I have, drop it fast. At 30,000 rand I've got, at 30,000 rand I have. At 30,000 I've got 35, at 35 I've got 40. At 40,000 rand I've got 45, at 45 50. At 50 I've got 55 to the floor. At 60,000, at 65, at 65,000 rand I have. How are we looking, Andrew? How are we looking? Are we selling?
It will launch number.
Yes, so we're selling. Drop the one and let's go. At 65,000 rand
Yeah,
with there,
road number
70
93,
to
now
the
they
floor.
are 83.
At 70,000 rand to the floor.
So it's the 10th car from now.
66, 75. At 75,000 rand, I'm looking for 77.
Starting bid
At
is $500,000
75,000 rand, I have online. Because then I further advance at 75,000.
Oh, it's starting very high. I would expect to start at 95.
At 77 and a half, I'm looking for 79. And then I further advance at 77,500 rand. It's only got 92,000 Ks on the clock. No more 77, drop it to 1 and let's go. At 77 and a half, 77,000 rand, no more. Going for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold at 77,000 rand to buy a 1214. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Lot number 84 is a 2021. It's a Nissan NP200. It's a 1.6. It's got aircon and it's nice. And I'm looking for an opening bid of 100,000 rand. I'm looking for an opening bid of 100,000 rand. Retailing at 173,000 rand. I'm looking for 100,000 rand. It's got 75,000 kilometers. I can do 80 for you if you want. I got 100,000 rand online. Go up and 2.5. Well done, Durban. Got 100,000 rand. I'm looking for 102.5 and 102.5. I'm looking for 105. At 102.5, I'm looking for 105 and 105. I'm looking for 107.5. At 107.5, I'm looking for 110. At 107.5, 110 I've got. At 110,000 rand, I'm looking for 112.5. You steal my sweets. At 115, 117.5. At 117.5, I'm looking for 120 round. At 117.5, I'm looking for 120. At 120, I'm looking for 122.5. At 120, I'm looking for 122.5. Is there no further advance at 120,000 rand? Let's drop it by 1. Let's drop it by 1. Are we selling, Henry? Are we selling? And we're selling at 122.5. Drop it by 1 and we're going to go. At 123.5, at 123.5, I'm looking for 124. At 123.5, looking for 124. Drop it by 500. Let's get to the round figure. At 123.5, let's get 124. At 123.5 for the first, second, third, and final call. No more. Sold at 123,500 rand to buy a 1107. So lot number 85 is a 2015. It's a VW Polo. It's a comfort line. It's the GP. It's a 1.2. It's a TSR. And we've got a current bid of 60,000 online. I've got 62.5. I've got 65. Online first before you. It's 67, 67.5. It's your bid at 67.5. It's your bid at 67.5. That's 67.5 and no more. 70. That's 71. That's 71,000 rand I have. That's 71,000 rand. I'm looking for 72. That's 71,000 rand I have. Andrew, what are we doing? What are we doing? Andrew, sir. That's 71,000 rand for the first, second, third, and final call. No more. Sold at 71,000 rand. Buyer number 98. Lot number 86 is a 2018, it's a Toyota Corolla, it's a 1.4, it's a diesel, and it's a Prestige. And I'm looking for an opening bid of 80,000 rand. What is the retail? Oh, 200,000 rand. Retailing at 200,000 rand. I'm looking for an opening bid of 80,000 rand. Come guys, we're nearly there, we're nearly there. All those people that haven't bought, you're walking home. 70,000 I'll take. You're walking home. And all those people that don't buy a car, I'm going to take off entertainment tax. At 70,000 rand, I've got to my left. I've got 70. At 70,000 rand, I'm looking for 72.5. At 72.5, I'm looking for 75. At 72.5, I'm looking for 75. At 75, I'm looking for 77.5. At 75, I'm looking for 77.5. At 77.5, I'm looking for 80 round. At 77.5, I'm looking for 80 round. With no further advance at 77.5. No more. Drop it to 1. Drop it to 1. I'll take 78.5. I'll take 78.5. Yeah, okay. That's 78.5 is here now. That's 78.5. We want 79.5. That's 79.5 I've got. Online before you, online before you. Can I give it to you 80,000 round? 80,000 round. Go back up in ones. At 80,000 rand, go up in ones. At 80,000 rand, I'm looking for 81 at the back. At 81,000 rand, I'm looking for 82 in the front. At 82 in the front. At 82 is online, 83 if you want. 83 if you want. I've got 82 online. 83, 84 in the back. At 84,000 rand. At 84,000 rand to you in the back. At 84,000 rand no more. At 84. 85. At 85,000 rand no more. At 85 going for the first. At 86. At 86,000 rand for the first. For the second. For the third and final call. 87. At 87,000 rand for the first. For the second. For the third and final call, no more. Sold at 87,000 rand. You buy a number. Buy a 98. That means you got to pay. He caught you again. Right, lot number 87, lot number 87 is a 2019, it's innocent hard body NP 300. It's a hard rider and it is a double cab, and I'm looking for an opening bid of 110,000 rand. This is the cleanest innocent NP 300 we've had here today. Retailing at 215,000 rand. Very, very nice bucky this, guys. Looking for 110,000 rand. 80. Okay, we'll stop. 80,000 rand. At 80,000 rand, I'm looking for 85. 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 Is there no further advance? At 80,000 rand. Guys, this is the cleanest. No, I can't take that. We way below. I can take 87 and a half. 87 and a half. At 87 and a half, I'm looking for 90,000. At 87 and a half, I'm looking for 90, I have. At 90,000 rand, I'll go to the floor. At 90,000, I'm looking for 92 and a half if you want. I can't, I'm way below. At 92 and a half, 95 I can take. 95 I can take. At 95 I can take. 95,000 rand go. At 95,000 rand, I'm looking for 97 and a half. At 95,000 rand, I'm looking for 97 and a half. There's another further advance. At 95,000 rand, are you bidding or just saying hello? You're just saying hello. Lucky you didn't bought a car. At 95, 97 and a half. Have a look, have a look, have a look. At 97 and a half thousand rand. Looking for 100 round at 97 and a half. 100 round. I've got 100 round. I've got 100 round. Oh, you selling, Andrew? At 100 round, I mean, I'm selling. Drop it a 1 and let's go. Drop it a 1 and let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the cleanest double cab here today. At 100,000 rand, looking for 101. Going at 100,000 for the first. The second at 101, at 101, at 101, 102, 102 I've got, at 102,000 rand looking for 103, at 102,000 rand looking for 103, at 102,000 for the first, second, third and final call, no more, sold 102,000 by 175. Check it out, you don't even need to do the exhaust. Lot number 88 is a 2015 Reynolds Sandero. It's a 900T. It's a stepway. And I'm looking for 45, but I'll take your 30. Let's go. At 30,000 rand. At 30,000 rand. You didn't even wait for me to do the retail. The retail is 124,000 rand and we're looking at 30,000 rand. At 30,000 rand, I'm looking for 32 and a half. At 30,000 rand, I'm 32 and a half. At 32 and a half, I'm looking at 35. At 35,000 rand, I have. And we are selling. At 35,000 rand, no more. At 37 and a half, at 37 and a half, 40,000 rand. At 40,000 rand, I'm looking for 40,000 rand, I'm looking for 42 and a half. There's no further advance at 48,000 rand. Drop it a 1 and let's go. Drop it a 1 and let's go. At 40,000 rand for the first. Second. 41. At 41,000 rand for the 42. At 42 for the first. Second. Third and final call. 43. At 43 for the 44. At 44,000 rand for the first. Second. Third and final call. Number 45. At 45,000 rand for the first. Second. Third and final call. 46. At 46 for the first. Second. Third and final call. No more. Sold at 46,000 rand. By a 98. I took this bid, yeah. I took his bid. Okay. Lot number 89, 89, 89, 89. The 2025 100 grand out 10.
Sell it. Come on.
Sorry, Jay.
You rather just say on the left or whatever, so that I know, because I thought you were also looking at him. Okay. Right. I'm sorry. No, I didn't bid him at all. I didn't say him at all.
I'll make it all nice.
Lot number 89, the 2025 100 grand out 10. It's a 1 litre motion. I'm looking for an opening bid of 160,000 rand. Ladies and gentlemen, this car is retailing at
9,000 Ks.
Hey, you're busy.
Oh, sorry.
At 191,000 And it's only under 10,000 kilometers.
2025.
It's only got under
Hey, Chini has it.
10,000 kilometers. And I need an opening bid of 160. Can I get an opening bid? Let's go, let's go, let's go. It's actually a very unusual color.
It's clean and everything, but
I need an opening bid, guys.
that explains the check.
I know.
How much? 20.
Yeah.
2025, man.
Drop it to 100. Drop it to 100.
Okay, see.
90. Okay, I'll take it.
And that's
It's not where we start, it's where we finish it. At 90,000 rand, I've got. At 90,000 rand, I'm looking for 95. At 95,000 rand, I'm looking for 100 rounds. At 95,000, 100,000, 100,000, 105. At 105,000 rand, I'm looking for 110. At 110, I'm looking for 115. At 115, I'm looking for 120 rounds. At 120 is online. 125. To that side on the left, Jason. At 125, 130 is online. At 130,000 rand, I have online. No further advance at 130. Are you happy to sell? Are you happy to sell? And we're selling at 130,000 rand. Drop it to one, and let's go. At 130,000 for the first, second, third, and final call. No more. Sold at 130,000 to buy a 1225. Lot number 90. Lot number 90 is a 2022. And this is the Volvo 2.5. It's a double cab. It's automatic and it's nice. And I need an opening bid of 300,000 rand. 300,000 rand.
66.
Oh, they're turning.
Yeah, some prices are really good here.
They gave me a front there for another. Oh, what have we missed out? And what are we telling it?
Giveaway.
Oh, 500 and. You're moving again.
Sorry, man. Deposit.
At 570,000 rand, it is just below the retail price. New price listing must be close to 800,000. 250 I can only take. 250 I can only take. 250 I can only take.
Miles anyway.
Okay. 250 I've got. At 250,000 rand I have. At 250,000 I have to. At 250,000 rand I'm looking for 255. At 255, 260 round. At 260, 265. At 260,000, 265, 265, 270. At 270 I'm looking for 5. At 275 I'm looking for 280. At 275 I'm looking for 280. Is there no further advance at 280 and 280? At 285, 285 I'm looking for 290. Guys, this is too cheap. Too cheap. At 290, 295, at 295, I'm looking for 300 round. Right where we should have started. At 295, 295, I'm looking for 300,000. At 300,000, right at 305. At 305,000, I'm looking for 310. It's got a tawny cover at the back, and it's still in good condition. At 305,000, looking for 310. Is there no further advance at 305? Drop it at 2.5. Drop it at 2.5. At 312, I'm looking for 312.5. At 310, I'm looking for 312.5. 312.5, I'm looking for 315. And we are selling, Andrew. And we are selling at 312.5. 315. At 315, I'm looking for 370.5. At 370.5, I'm looking for 320 round. At 320 round, I'm looking for 322.5. At 322.5. At 322.5, I'm looking for 325. Because no further on, so 322.5. Drop it a 1 and drop it a 1 and let's go. At 322.5 for the first. Drop it a 1, please. At 322.5 for the first. 323.5. At 324.5. At 324.5. 325.5. 325.5. 326.5. At 326.5, 327.5. At 327.5, 328.5, 328.5, 329.5. At 328.5, no more. Drop it about 500. Let's get to a round figure. At 328.5, looking for 329. Is there no further advance? Go back up in thousands. At 329.5, looking for 330. 330 would be nice. At 329,000, 330. At 331 would be better. At 330,000 rand, no more. Going for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold 330,000 to buy a 1081. Lot number 9, look like we're leaving all the good stuff for the last guys. Lot number 91 is a 2018, it's a Toyota Hilux, it's 2.4. It is the E-Care,
Yeah, no,
and
they
I
do my
need
calculations.
210,000 rand to start me on
Some
a
we not
retail
know, but
of
most of them, no, because they get told
311,000.
the actual cost.
Let me have 210. At 170, I'll take. Let's go. At 170,000 rand, I've got. At 170,000 rand, leave it at 5. At 170, I'm looking for 175. At 170,000, I need 175. At 175 is here. 180 is yours. At 180, 185, and 185, 190. If you want at 190, I've got. At 190, I'm looking for 195, and 195, I'm looking for 200 round. At 195, you want 200,000. I've got 200,000. 205 is yours. At 205, at 210. At 210, 215, at 215, 220, at 220, I have. At 225, 230. Jason is your bet. At 230, are you on the back there at 235? 35 is my bet. At 235 against everybody, it's me. At 235, 240 against you. 245, I'm in. At 245, I'm looking for 250 round. At 245, I'm looking for 250 round. Is there no further advance at 250 against you? At 250, you want to go? 255. At 255, my bet. Is there no further advance at 250? Drop it by 1 and let's go. At 255,000 for the first, second, third and final call, no more. Sold 255, and I cannot see it. 3, 2, 1. Lot number 92 is a 2022. It's a Toyota Hilux, Toyota Quantum. It's a Cessna Kile, and I've got an opening bid of 232. 232,000. This vehicle is retailing at 430,000 rand. And we got a bid of 242. 242. At 242,000, I'm looking for 247, and I've got 242. At 242,000, I need 247. There's no further advance at 242,000. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we selling?
Yes, longer.
So there we go. At 247. At 247 against you, it's behind you, the guy in the yellow shirt. At 247, you want to go 250, and 250 is online. At 250,000 rand, you want to go 252 and a half is over here. 262 and a half is online first. At 262 and a half, you want to go 265. You want to go 265. 262 and a half thousand rand is online. No more 262. Drop it a 1, and let's go. At 262, you want 263. 262 for the first, second, third, and final call. No more. Sold at 262,000 to buy a 1062, buy a 1107. You were too late.
That's the one number we sold for 1,245. You said you was busy. The buyer number though. You asked me to run it a couple of days ago. I never registered it.
No. 500 very guys. Let's not play games. Guys, lot number 93 is the last vehicle of the day. 2023. It's Toyota Land Cruiser. It's a 79 4.5. This is the nicest vehicle that I've ever seen here at Aucorkzn. It's an absolutely fantastic vehicle. We're going to go up with 10 to Nirvana. I just want to see what I think those are big numbers here.
861.
Retailing at 861. If you can find them, the new price listing must be over $1 million. And we're sitting at 500,000 rand. I need 510 to continue. 510 to continue. At 510,000 rand I have. At 510,000 rand I'm looking for 520. At 520 I have. At 520, 530, at 530 to the floor. At 540 I have. At 540, 555. At 555, 560. At 560, 570. At 570 I need 580. At 580 I have. At 590 what do you want? At 590 I need 590 if you want. right. 580 I've got online. 585. At 585 I've got. At 590 I have. I've got 590. Somebody's whistling, guys. Please make sure that everybody can see. At 590 I've got online. 595 to the floor. At 595, 600 rand. 600 round. At 605 is online. At 605 I'm looking for 610. At 605 I'm looking for 610. 610 I have. At 610,000 rand or more. I'm looking for 615. At 615, I'm looking for 620. At 615, I'm looking for 620. At 615, I'm looking for 620. 620 I have. At 620, 625. At 625, and I've been given the go ahead by the bank to sell. At 625, looking for 630. Yeah. At 630, I've got on the phone. At 630,000 rand no more. 635. At 635 against you, Jason. At 640. At 640 is Jason's bid. At 645 is online. At 645 is online. I'm looking for 650. At 645 no more. Drop it at 647 and a half. At 647 and a half I've got. At 647 and a half, 650 I've got round. At 650,000 rand I'm looking for 650. 652 and a half. At 652 or 655. At 655,000 rand I'm looking for 57 and a half. At 657 and a half, 660, 660. At 662 and a half. I'm looking for 662 and a half. I have on the line. At 665. At 665. I reiterate, this is the nicest vehicle out. At 665, 675, 670, 670. That's 670,000, 672 and a half. I'm looking for 675. At 675. At 675,000 rand, I'm looking for 677 and a half. At 675,000 rand no more. Drop it a one, and let's go. At 675 for the first. At 675 for the second. At 675 for the third and final call, no more. Sold at 675,000 to buy a 1116. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got another two vehicles. Here we go. That was the nicest vehicle of the day. But hang on, this one's not too bad either. Lot number 94, lot number 94 is a 2019 is a VW Polo. It's the 1 litre. We are sitting at 92,500 rand and 95. At 95,000 rand, I'm looking to a 97 and a half. At 95,000 rand, I'm looking at 97 and a half. At 95,000 rand, I need 97 and a half. At 97 and a half, how are we looking, Andrew? Okay? We're looking bad. Oh, we can't sell at 100,000 rand. At 100,000 rand, it's got 102 and a half and 102 and a half, 105. At 105,000 rand, and we still can't sell. At 105,000 rand, I need 107 and a half. And 105,000 rand, I can sell. At 107 and a half, and we're selling. At 107 and a half, we're selling. At 107 and a half, we're going to sell. Drop it a one, drop it a one, drop it a one, and let's go. At 107 and a half, looking for 108 and a half. At 107 and a half for the first, for the second, for the third, 108 and a half. At 108 and a half, looking for 109. At 108 and a half, no more. For the first, second, third and final call, sold 108 and a half to buyer 751. Buyer 1073, your bid came in too late. Lot number 95, lot number 95. Here we go, the 2018 is a Cheetah Hilux at 2.5. It's a GD, it's got aircon and it's got a canopy, and we are sitting at 108,000 rand. At 108,000 rand, I need 110, and 110, I need 112, and 113, and 114 to the floor. At 115. 16 to the floor. At 118, I got online. At 118, you want to go 122. At 122 to the floor. At 122, 124 is online. At 126, I will go. At 126,000 rand to the floor. And I'm selling to the floor. At 128. At 128, you want to go 130 or 130, I got online. At 132, 134. 136 is yours. At 136, are you happy? No, you're not. He's shaking his head. At 140. At 142, I got 142, I'm looking for 144. At 144, I'm looking for 146. Is there no further advance at 146,000? Looking for 148. At 148, I'm looking for 150 round. At 150, I'm looking for 152. At 150, I've got 152. At 152, at 154. At 154, I'm looking for 156. At 156, I'm looking for 158. At 156, I'm looking for 158. At 158, I'm looking for 160. At 158,000 rand, we got to sell at 160 round. At 162. At 162, I'm looking for 164.
Auction now.
At 164, I'm looking for 166. At 166, I'm looking for 168. At 166, I'm looking for 168. At 168, at 170 round. At 172, I'm looking for 174. At 172, I'm looking for 174. At 174, I'm looking for 176. Drop it at 1 and let's go. At 174, looking for 175. 174 for the first, at 175, at 175 for the first, second, at 176, at 176, at 176, at 176, at 177, at 177, 178, at 178 to 178 for the first, at 179, at 179, 180, 180, 180 for the first. Second, third, and 181. At 180, 180, 182. At 180, 180, 182. I'm looking for 183. At 183, I'm looking for 184. At 184, I'm looking for 185. At 184, no more. For the first, second, third, and final call, no more. Sold at 184,000 to buy 1261. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the last vehicle of the day. Thank you very much for your attendance. Please drive safely. And we'll see you next week, Tuesday, for our MFC and Standard Bank auction. Have a fantastic day. Don't forget to pay up your accounts and remove your vehicles as soon as possible.
Thank you guys for joining us as we held the next auction is on Tuesday next week.
Because, you know,
So the viewing will start on Saturday at 9 to 2 and on Sunday 9 to 2 and then on Monday 8 to 4. So you can go to the workshop over the weekend. The cars will be there where they're actually doing an auction. This is at the underground or basement parking at the workshop. That's where the auction takes place. Mawazi workshop ngeke uzulahleke. Ma parking angaphansi balapho labantu baka Aucorkzn. Imoto zakhona zibiyelwe ngefence ukuze separate from the public parking. All right. There's no one there because the only person that does it is Che, and I spoke to him. He said he's not doing it today. He's got other things. So unfortunately there's no one covering the auction today. As a Kempton Park. Okay, thank you for the live. See you next time.